Woke up with a mouth full of ashes and blame. I tried to change me to yesterday's name. Mirror said sinner, but my heart said fight. Ain't a grave deep enough to hold my light. I slept in a ditch with a thunder for sheets. Ball gun with a bottle and lost 2 weeks. For pain talk. All right, guys. It is Sunday night. I am just about ready to end the day, and I got a request to do the same video I just did with Reefer. Figured I'd do this real quick before I go to bed. And full disclosure, I've had several brewed beverages already this morning with my steak dinner. So let's see here. So let's start in Dallas, Texas here, and look for reefers. I know nothing about reefers, guys. The market for reefer kind of eludes me. The only thing I do know, let's go ahead and do this real quick here. If we look at the truck stop, well, this is Sunday. Yeah, this is Sunday, so this isn't really a very good example, but reefer always has the lowest volume out of all the big three equipment types, so that's going to be a problem. Also, because of the loading times, a lot of times food and frozen stuff takes forever to load, so the short hauls might not be, might not be the way to go. So here we got a Dallas. We're going to sort by, let's see, we're sorting by highest rate. Yeah, that's fine. We can keep that going. This is a pretty good broker, I want to say. They are, they're definitely bigger in the food industry. Going down to Florida. I don't know if that'd be good or not. Pick in Amarillo, Texas. Well, that's a long ways from Dallas. Huh. Here's a load going up to Washington State, Jacksonville, Florida. Let's see, where do we want to go from Dallas, guys? This is reefer, so this is food, mostly food and frozen stuff. I don't know where the hell to go from Dallas. I just picked Dallas randomly, guys. Cleveland, Ohio, that sounds good. The rate's pretty good. I feel like Cleveland should be good. Send MC for load info. So we have no idea what pickup time. Oh, great. They're not even a good broker. Okay, we can't take that load. Denver, PA. I don't know if that would be good or not. I don't feel like PA would be all that good. I don't know. Maybe it would be. Ryan Transportation, they're a great brokerage. Virginia. Not sure if Virginia would be good. Southern California should be good. $1.62. That's pretty horrible, but we might get a pretty good rate over there. North Carolina. I feel like North Carolina is good. I hear they got a lot of chicken, and especially coming up on turkey season, this could be a really good spot to be. So let's go ahead and take that one. They're a good brokerage. Armstrong Logistics. Going over to North Carolina. Let's go ahead and take this one real quick. I'll write this down and I'll get back to it. Okay, we've got Dallas, Texas to North Carolina, $2,700 for 0 deadhead and $1,170 on the loaded miles. Let's go look in North Carolina. Okay, we're looking for big rates, highest rate, so it's going to pick up a lot of miles first. Lacey, Washington for $1.62. I feel like that may not be good. Aurora, Colorado for $1.52. Doesn't sound very good. Here's something for $6.30 a mile. No comments, guys. So the question is
They are a good brokerage. I've never heard of these guys before. Of course, it's reefer freight. Um, so look, they've got this posted at $2,500. The average is 910. So let's not take this because that is an outlier. It's probably lots of deliveries, or it's drop trailer or something like that. So let's not take that. Florida for 260. I don't feel like that's good enough. Maine for 220. Yikes. I don't know about Maine in the reefer. It could be a great spot to be in the reefer. Guys, let me know. That could be a good spot to be if you're in refrigerated. I don't know. Back down to Dallas for $1.40? That's ridiculous, guys. What's going on here? Massachusetts for 241. Massachusetts can't be a good market, can it, guys? For a reefer? Now, you know, I'm I'm looking on Sunday night, so it you know it is what it is. But I did those other videos on today earlier this morning, which was the van stuff. So I was able to pick up some pretty good van stuff even on the weekend. Massachusetts, Texas. What is going on? There is. This is kind of what I thought would happen with reefer, guys. I am so lost when it comes to which markets are good and which markets are bad. Florida, certain times of the year, Florida is good for reefer because of the produce season, but I don't think that's this time of year. We could go ahead and take this. It's pretty close to the average, so let's go ahead and take this just for something to do, and we'll see if it works out. So let me go ahead and write this down, and I'll get back to it. Okay, guys, we got that written down. It is $1,700 for 25 miles deadhead, and then 527 on the loaded miles. Now we're going to look in Orlando, Florida, and we'll probably be totally stuck. Let's see. Okay. We've got a Sumner, Washington for $1.50. That's way too long of mileage to go for that low of rate. Los Angeles, that's I mean, Los Angeles should be a good market, but not if we have to take $1.04, $1.04 to get there, it's not worth it. Cleveland, Ohio, or sorry, Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's see if this broker is any good. Nope. 2 pickups, 2 miles away. Okay, that's fine, but we can't work for them because they're no good. Um, Holy cow, guys. South Carolina for a 215. That's not, oh, they don't pay their bills. Look at that. I mean, they might, but there's no history on RTS. And if RTS is the largest factoring company in North America and there's no history, hmm. Um, okay, let's sort by rate per mile just to try to bring up the loads that can kind of salvage this thing. We could go Florida to Florida. We already looked at this one, what they didn't pay their bills, right? Yeah, it was unknown. So let's see. Pennsylvania could be, let's see, do these guys pay their bills? Yes, they do. Okay, cool. 2 pick, 2 drop. Oh, see, if they don't put the states in there, or the cities and states, then we can't do the math on it. So that doesn't do any good for the test. Boston, Massachusetts. Let's see. Does that pay the bills? According to that, it doesn't. Team. Well, we don't have a team. Okay. What's next? Nothing. Just like I thought, guys. I'm going to get stuck over here. Oh. You guys, reefer's rougher than I thought. I think we did better on the dry van sector. Now, most of this is just because I don't know where I'm going. You know, if I knew where the hot reefer markets were, I could double up on hot markets and then take one bad one. But I think what we're going to have to do here. Where was there? There was one going to Georgia, Macon, Georgia. No, that's horrible. Uh, hmm. The Macon, Georgia one is a broker that I'm not sure of. Let's see. They're a C. And then this one over here, we have worked for this guy, Suntech. They're a pretty good broker. Well, they used to be, not anymore. So what you got to watch with these brokers. They, these guys used to pay their bills on time. Now they don't. D means that they still pay their bills, but their time to pay has extended, meaning that they're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. So we can't work for Suntech anymore. Damn it! Seems like every week there's another broker that we used to work for, but we can't anymore. Okay, so here's a Georgia Chop Tank. We used to work for them. Okay, they still pay their bills. Good. Let's just take this one. I can't believe we're going to take $1.20 a mile freight, guys. We got to get out of here. We got a pretty large deadhead too, 140-mile deadhead just to get $1.20 a mile freight. I mean, that $1.20 again, guys, is after the 140-mile deadhead. But all right, let's write this down real quick. Okay, I'm back at it here. I got that written down. It is $650 for 140-mile deadhead and then 402-mile loaded. I knew going to Florida was not a good choice. I probably should take that one out. I already knew that was a bad choice, but we've got to come back from that disaster now. So I feel like we got a pretty good load, a pretty good rate going down there. So maybe it'll pencil out in the end. Let's see, Charlotte to Norfolk, Virginia. That's $4 a mile. That might help us out since we made some mistakes already. I don't know. The problem with reefer freight is, from what I understand, the loading and unloading times are pretty dramatic sometimes. So doing this, short hops, these 280-mile runs or 5 or 400-mile runs may not pencil out. You may spend more time waiting at docks than you just spend driving. So let's look for big loads out of Georgia. There's nothing, guys. I wonder how much of this is just because it's on the weekend, and come Monday it might loosen up a little bit. It might be some more team. That would have been a nice long haul, but it's team. So you either need a team or you need to be from Ukraine. Otherwise, you can't do this. Those Ukrainians, man, I can never beat them. On the flatbed side, I'll be loading next to them, and I'll get out of there, 3 or 4 trucks ahead of them, and they'll beat me to location somehow. All right, let's see here. Stockton for $1. You guys, I don't even know if I can continue this. I mean, Los Angeles for $1.30, and it needs a team. Team freight for $1.30. Are you nuts? What is the average? 31.90. The average is $1.47. That's ridiculous. Pretty sure Van Freight would pay better than that. What's going on here, guys? Is this normal? Denver for $1.70? This doesn't make any sense. This is the only load that pays decent, and it's probably. Okay, let's go to the middle of the country to see if we can salvage this. Okay, let's write this down. Atlanta to Oklahoma. All right, guys, I'm back. We've got that written down. It's $2,500 for 61-mile deadhead with an 869-mile loaded. Now we're going to look at Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, wherever the hell that is. Huh? Are these guys any good? They are. This could be a salvation load, guys. Of course, it gets us into a pickle again. 4 drops, great. Oh man, we do have the stuff, but I don't think it's gonna be good enough because it's going to Florida. So I'm not. Here we go. Oregon for $2. We can't work with those guys. That's Suntech. That's depressing. I used to do a lot of work with Suntech. Back in COVID when I had the vans, when I was doing a little bit more van stuff, we did a lot of work with Suntech. It's too bad. Let's see. Yeah, that would have been that would see. I would have. Let's see what the rate is on this or the averages. So 4,000. Yeah, they're over the average. That would have been a great load. I think. I feel like it would have been. I feel like the West Coast might be better for reefer than it is for van, but I don't know that. Seattle for $1.50. Oh my gosh. They're a good brokerage. 38.50 is what that load averages. 36. I mean, they're right in there because they're probably expecting to be, for someone to negotiate a few $100s extra. Just like when you post a car for sale, you're gonna lowball it so you can negotiate up a little bit. Same thing here. They're lowballing it so they can negotiate up a little bit. So we could probably get 38 out of it. But all depends on if that market needs trucks or if they got an abundance of trucks bidding it out. So let's go ahead and take that one just to do something and get moving, guys. Man, $1.51. All right, let's write this down. Okay, back at it. We got $3,600 for 165-mile deadhead and 2,213-mile loaded. And we're going to be looking at a Seattle now. Come on, Seattle, come through for us. We've made several bad runs here. All right, so we can't work for them. They're D-rated. We might be able to work for them. We'd have to get them approved through our factoring company, and we could work for them, just not factor it. I suppose that's fine, but it makes me a little nervous when the factoring company says, "Hey, they don't pay their bills, don't work for them," and we go ahead and work for them with a $9,000 load. Could be a good way to go out of business, guys. Real team, doesn't matter. We can't do it anyway. All right, Kentucky. This could be a good load. Longship. We've worked for them in the past. I didn't much care for them as a company. It just seemed like they had a bunch of high school kids working for them, and it's like they had just like TQL, they had a department that was responsible for annoying the drivers, and they took their jobs very seriously. So we can't take that because that's team as well. All right, how are we going to salvage this disaster of a run? Massachusetts, RXO. Ooh, Forest Park. We've already been there once. That's where we went out of Georgia just now. Or, I mean, when we came up out of Florida, we went to Forest Park, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was Forest Park. Wait a minute. No, I guess not. I didn't write it down. Where was it? Jefferson, I guess is what it was. Oh, yeah, we looked at one going to Forest Park. We didn't take it. Louisiana. $7,000. That seems like a nice rate. Let's see what the average is for this. $7,000. The average is set. Yeah. So they're a team. Gosh, we need a team, guys. Reefer, -10. Okay, let's see if the Louisiana one we need a team. Max Freight Lines. There be, never heard of them before. Frozen Pies. Need early truck. 8 a.m. Monday. Drop Friday. Yeah, that's about right. 2,700 miles. Yeah. Yeah, you could probably be there late Thursday. Okay, let's take this one. It's about the only one that works out for us, guys. Let me write this one down and we'll get back to it. Okay, we're back at it here. We've got $7,000 for 35-mile deadhead and $27.29 on the loaded miles. Now we're going to look at a what is it, Pearl River? Yeah, Pearl River. Okay. Louisiana. Good old Louisiana. Oh, dear goodness. You guys, this is brutal. How are you reefer guys doing this? What the heck is going on around here? I thought reefer was supposed to get paid all this extra money for running the reefer unit. Where did we start at? We started at Dallas. Let's see about going back to Dallas and put an end to this. Yeah, forget about that. Let's see. This would be the closest one. They're a good broker if we just take the average of 1193. Maybe I'll do that just to put an end on this. We're getting kind of long here. So yeah, let me write this one down and then we'll do all the calculations. Okay, we got this written down here. It's 1193. We just went off the average because they don't have a rate posted. For 160-mile deadhead and 407-mile loaded. So now that puts us back in where we started was Dallas. So we did a complete run. Let me take a few minutes here and do the math, and I'll get back to it. Okay, guys, we've got a total dollar amount of $19,343. We've got a total mile amount of $8,903. So we'll do that math real quick here. 19,343 divided by $8,903. What the hell? Wow, I thought we were doing horrible. We came out to that came out to $2.17, guys. Wow. I would have thought we would have been down in the $1.60, as much mistakes as I made. So $2.17 a mile. You guys, that came out much better than I thought it was going to. It looks like reefer is very, very one-way freight, so you make all your money on one direction. And I wonder how much of this would have been better had I been experienced at the reefer markets. You know, because one thing I know is if, you know, what I really do know is flatbed. And if you know, I hear guys all the time running in markets that are just, they struggle to, you know, get any sort of rate or any sort of revenue because they just don't know where they're going and they go the wrong direction. They shouldn't have went that direction. They should have done they should have done their triangle the opposite way. You know what I mean? So I wonder how much of this would have been better if I just understood the market better on the reefer side. But 217, guys, that was I was shocked. I thought that whole run was horrible. Now let's go do real quick a budget sheet based on these numbers. Now that was almost 9,000 miles. Um, so yeah, it's going to be basically going to be a little bit over 2 weeks, especially with the short hauls and stuff, and with reefer, a lot of waiting time. So let's just figure that was going to be, what do we figure that is? 3 weeks? That's 9,000 miles. That's divided by 2. That's 4,400 miles a week if we do 2 weeks. That's not possible. So let's say, let's divide that by, let's say 3,500 miles a week. That's 2.5 weeks. So 2.5 weeks. Let's say we just do 3,500 miles for 4 weeks, right? It's 14,000 miles a month. That's a little much, guys. Let's just say my typical 11,000 miles a month. That's pretty standard in the trucking industry. Okay, and then we're going to put in the 217 is what this map, what this actually calculated out to. And as far as the costs go, it's not going to be a whole lot different than dry van. Probably our insurance is going to be higher because we've got reefer insurance. We might have a much higher equipment cost on the reefer unit because we're probably gonna have a newer reefer unit. So let's say $900 a month payment on the reefer unit. We can probably do pretty similar on fuel mileage. Reefers are shaped about the same way as the dry van. More often they're heavy, so let's just say 9, not 90. Let's just say 9. Everything else is going to be about the same, guys. Except for our driver is going to be significantly more. We're probably going to be 70 cents per mile for a reefer driver. So this pencils out. I mean, we came in pretty damn similar to dry van. And I made some major mistakes in this whole route, I think. Comment, you guys, if any of the reefer guys happen to watch this. Comment where I went wrong here. I suspect the Florida one was wrong. I don't know where else I went wrong. But so this would be with no lease fee. This would be with your own authority. $4,700 a month profit after paying your driver 70 cents per mile, or equivalent of 44 cents per mile. Now, I want to say on the last one, on the van one, we did, what were we figuring? We were figuring like 12,800 miles. So if we do the same amount of miles with the reefer, which may not be possible because of all the loading and unloading times that reefer gives you. Again, guys, I'm unaware of this, so I just heard some stuff. So, but if we did the same mileage, we might be able to do 6,100, 6,200 of revenue, or 48 cents per mile of profit to the company after the driver pay. Yeah. Now let's say you were a leased on owner operator for 10%. That brings it down to $3,400 profit, or 27 cents per mile. Or if you're the owner, it's the 27 cents per mile plus the 70, and that's yours. Actually, it's a little bit more than that because of the driver payroll that we're not paying. So let's just zero this out. And this would be our total income to the reefer driver if the reefer driver is a leased on owner operator and doesn't pay, himself a driver wage, just takes whatever the profit is. $13,700 profit at the end of the month, or $1.07 a mile. Being leased on to a company similar to mine that might charge 10%, would be open to the spot market, have no customers. That was just straight spot market freight on a Sunday, and a factoring bill of 2%. Everything is over here just like before. We have tires, we got brakes, we got oil changes, we've got truck wash and breakdowns. We're scheduling for we're budgeting for $1,000 for every 12,000 miles, which is what we're figuring pretty near a month. So about $1,000 a month budgeted for breakdowns. we're figuring 9 miles to the gallon. And because we went out west on some of this, we're figuring a fairly high fuel bill of $3.45. If you do all the things that I do when it comes to fuel mileage, you should be able to get 9 miles to the gallon, even pulling reefer. But let's say we didn't. Let's say we dropped down to 8.5. It brings us down to $1.05. Let's say we drop down to 8. I would have to think you could get 8 miles to the gallon, guys. If not, you need to rethink your business. But 7.5. Even at 7.5, we got $1 a mile. So $12,700 of company profit. Of course, the owner has to take some of that to pay the mortgage back home, the food bill back home, and what have you. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. That was just a request to do the reefer the same way I did the van and the flatbed. And I am definitely not aware of very many things in the reefer. I've stayed out of that. Don't want anything to do with that reefer insurance on my insurance claims. So kind of stayed out of that whole business. But I was pretty shocked it came out at $217. Even with all the low rates we took. It must have just been because we took some high rates, like $7,000 from Washington to Louisiana. I don't know, guys. Let me know if that sounds normal to what you guys are doing.